up with us.
The mine opened in 1718 and was originally known as the Providence Mine. But in 1761 it was renamed the George and Charlotte in honour of the marriage of George III and Charlotte Mecklenburg-Strelitz. We will be entering the mine through the entrance in the hillside to the left of the train at one of the 8 levels that formed the mine. Metals such as copper are normally found in vertical or almost vertical stripes running down through the ground. These stripes are called the lode, and in order to access the lode, it was necessary to create several horizontal tunnels at different heights, which in turn are connected by vertical shafts. We are entering at level 4, meaning there are 3 levels above us in the hillside and a further 4 beneath us. Some of the lower levels extend not just into the hillside, but also out beneath the Tamar towards the Cornish bank. Not all the levels have direct access to the outside world, so each one is connected by vertical shafts through which the ore was brought to the surface, and miners access the different levels by means of zigzagging ladders. This in itself was dangerous and exhausting, particularly at the end of a long and physically demanding shift. The wooden rungs of the ladders were often wet and slippery, and for miners working in the bottom level of the George and Charlotte, it meant a vertical climb of 325 feet, or almost 100 metres to the surface.
So listen up, folks. This here is the mine captain. Bob's asked if he can take you all through the mine today. That's fine, but don't go holding anyone up, because time is money after all. All right, Hansoms? Sit back, folks, and we'll get going. Enjoy the ride.
All the farmers go around and feel their days line up with snow. The miners, they go underground and never miss a blow. All the mining people go, my boys, mining people go. With picks and shovels in their hands, the mining people go. Over that hill is here when the bells sky. Behold it in the engine and some make a best of town. Oh, my boys, mining people go. With picks and shovels in their hands, the mining people go.
Yeah. Actually come uphill a bit, haven't we? Yeah.
Now we've got that sorted, and if you're ready, let's go mining for copper. So, I've got a few of the lads to demonstrate how things have changed over the years. When they first began mining for copper underground a few hundred years back, in the early 17th century, they would light fires against the face of the rock and stoke them until the rock was red hot. They then throw water against the rock to cool it quick so it would crack and shatter. Any tools they would have been using would have been much the same as what had been used right back into Roman times. Once the fires had cracked the rock, they would get to work with pickaxes and wedges that they could hammer into the cracks to break bits away and then shovel for clearing broken rock. Working with tools like that through hard rock like this was incredibly slow. To give you an idea of the speed a miner digging away for a month with basic hand tools through a hard section of rock would get them a tunnel about the width of a carriage you're sitting in now 3 feet. Incredibly slow, hard, physical work. But about 100 years ago, in the 1760s, a big change happened when they started using gunpowder for blasting the rock. The way that worked was first they'd have to drill a hole into the rock. Back then, that meant drilling by hand. They worked in teams with holding a metal bar with a sharpened end called a borer up against the rock and twisting it round and round with his hands, while his partner behind him would be banging on the end with a hammer to drive it into the rock. They carry on like that, aiming to get a hole that went about 3 feet into the rock. It could take up to 8 hours to drill a hole that far. It was still very hard physical work. Once they drilled the hole, they then packed some gunpowder into the bottom of it and put in a homemade fuse. That was usually made out of a piece of straw or even a length of reed from the river with a little bit of gunpowder down the middle to help it burn. They light the end of the fuse and then run like hell. Very important, that bit. is you'd no way of telling just how quick the fuse were burned down. There was plenty of miners injured and killed by explosions back then. But they carried on working like that because blasting things is a lot quicker and a lot easier. And speed is important because in many mines there was no regular hourly rate. Pay was on a system called tribute. That meant they'd work in small groups, and the amount of copper ore that group took out of the mine would affect how much they got paid. So the quicker they worked, the more money they could make. Hand drilling and using gunpowder was around 5 times faster than any previous method. But it still wasn't what you'd exactly call fast. The next big change that came along was only a few years back. That's when the mine got its first rock drill. It's powered by compressed air, with a steam engine up on the surface compressing the air, which comes out the shaft in hoses. These rock drills are the proper job. They made things a lot quicker and easier. A week's work with one of these drills could drive a tunnel a bit longer than this old train. So these drills are really speeding things up, but they're causing us some problems too. First off, as you might have noticed, they're really loud. And when you're working in a small space with these going all the time, it starts to affect your hearing. I reckon there's a few of us that will be going completely deaf in the next couple of years. And they create a lot of dust, and rock dust, when it's breathed in, can really mess with your lungs. It's always been dusty and dirty work out there, but I reckon it's going to mean lots more of us are taken bad much sooner. Still, faster tunneling means more ore. Thing is, with copper prices so low these days, we are mainly extracting ore for arsenic. Maybe more money for me with my share of Portland, though mainly for them that own the mines.
Hey Tom, hold the train there. Stand by on the train. We've got a faulty fuse, she's gonna go any second now. Hey, what went wrong there? Beetle don't knockers, I reckon. Messing with stuff down here, causing all sorts of nuisance. Best you get on your way now, Bob, before they do any more damage. Go on.
Thanks, lads.
All the farmers go around and feel their legs high up with straw. The miners take the underground and never miss a blow. All the miners will mining we will go. With picks and shovels in our hands, a mining we will go. We all work at the Elysium with the bellows staff. We all lived in the engine house and made the best of that. Oh, mining we will go, my boys, mining we will go. With picks and shovels in our hands, a mining we will go.
Let's pause here for a moment, because I want to talk to you about knockers. Yes, you heard me right, but likely not what you're thinking. Most mines around these parts have got knockers. Little people, about 2 foot tall they are, with long white whiskers and dressed like right old-time miners. Not that you get to see them too often. They hide in the shadows in the darkest parts of the mine, but you do hear them, and when you do, it often means calamity will soon follow. They get their name from the knocking sound we hear all the time when working the rock. The sound comes from within the mine walls and happens just before a cave-in. It's actually the creaking of earth and timbers starting to give way. Sometimes, if we follow the knocking, we find new rich veins of copper. Sometimes it all comes crashing down around us, but that's mining for you. Some say knockers are malevolent spirits who hammer away at the walls and supports to cause a cave-in. But to others, knockers are looking out for you, and tapping on the rock is their way to warn of an impending collapse. Personally, I like to believe they're on our side and not making mischief. But I'm taking no chances, which is why I often leave the last bite of my pasty for them. And thanks for keeping me and the lads safe. Talking of pasties, did you know they were actually invented here in Devon and not across the river in Cornwall, as them over there would have you believe? But don't let on I told you that. Handy thing, pasties. I always eat the tasty part and leave the dirty crust where I've been holding. That's the bit I leave for the knockers, truth be told. They don't mind a bit of dirt. I've been lucky like this. What with lungs full of dust and any living poisons such as arsenic and the like, not to mention the dangers of explosions and rock falls. Many don't live to see 35. Visitors sometimes say to me, "Bob, what happens when you need to answer a call of nature?" Well, since it's only men and boys in here, we just do what we have to do. A seat in a bucket is about as good as it gets. I reckon there's one close by here. That'll be Sid if I'm not mistaken.
Can't you see I'm busy?
Oh, sorry, Sid. Didn't mean to disturb you. Some poor devil is going to have to empty that later. It'll likely be one of the young lads. They do everything down here apart from mining itself. Mostly up and down the ladders all day, fetching and carrying water, tools, even explosives for us miners working the loads. Many of them are sons of ours. Some are young as 11. They're so exhausted at the end of a 12-hour shift, they barely have the strength to make the last climb to go home. And there have been some who have slipped and fell to their death trying. Us older chaps do try to look after the young'uns though. Mind you, the prospects aren't that great for the girls and women folk working above ground either. It's relentless physical work there too, as my missus and daughter will tell you. Some folks do think that mining for copper and tin, as most mines do around these parts, is the same as mining for coal. But that ain't so. For a start, coal is a much softer material. It's all carbon, and the seams of coal are much thicker and wider too, so it's easier to dig out using picks and shovels, while here we have to blast the rock away to get to the veins of ore. Start using explosives down a coal mine would be asking for trouble too, because when there's coal, there's usually gas, and you wouldn't want to be messing with explosives or even naked flames in a coal mine. That's why they have to use them safety lamps, while we can get away with having a candle stuck to our caps with a lump of clay. We don't have no trouble with gas down here, apart from when Sid lets one rip, of course.
Here, push off, you not. Here, push off, you not.
This here's a water wheel. You've most likely seen one driving the machinery in a flour or textile mill.
but I bet you've not seen one working underground before. Here at the George and Charlotte, we've got a power supply that's totally free. Water! We don't need none of them complicated newfangled steam engines here. All temperamental, burning loads of coal and often is not blowing up. The water comes from draining the 3 levels up above us, as well as an overflow from the Tavistock Canal. And when all that water has done its job, turning the wheel, it just flows out into the Tamar. The wheel's stopped for a grease-up just now, but we haven't got more than a few minutes to get it running, else the miners will be waist-deep in bottom level. Hurry up, Jack!
I'm going as fast as I can. Bob, quick, give us a hand. The wheel's stuck. Hurry, the lower level's flooded. It's full foot now. They'll be drowning soon. Where's those knockers when you want them?
Here we are, 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 here we are. Come on, lend a hand, fellas.
All the farmers go around the field, their legs tied up with straw. The miners, they go underground and never miss a blow. Oh, mining we will go, my boys, mining we will go. With picks and shovels in our hands, and mining we will go. We all work that we're lazy, and when the bell was scattered, we all lived in the engine house and made the best of that. Oh, mining we will go, my boys, mining we will go. With picks and shovels in our hands, a mining we will go.
Not running very well though.
On spot there, James. Oh,
There we go. I like the chain crank arms. Does it actually move the balance boat?
he's lifting the
Oh yeah,
boat.
yeah. That's brilliant.
That is pretty special.
Yeah, and then it stops there, unfortunately.
Oh, that is amazing.
Better go the other way.
No, it started turning now. Yeah, I saw a notice on the wall that said. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. With the pump on, and it goes down as well. It goes down underneath us. There was a sign on the wall that said secure water wheel before stopping. So they must have to shut it down when they stop in or something. Yeah, look, there's a shaft there.
Yeah.
Underneath it. It's not actually a bad little mine.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I've got a lot.
Yeah. Wonder if it's still actually being used to pump. I wonder if it's still being used to pump.
It's a well bit.
Yeah. jet wash they haven't they?
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
It's immaculate.
Yeah.
What's it after you've taken public out?
Yeah.
Big concrete shop.
Right then, so here we are at the new beginning. The time to train Redfast.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is the out tunnel this. I remember looking up this one.
Yeah.
Morwell, but very much so. Never more than 50 folk live here, whereas we're looking 400 Morwell.
This guy swaps ends now, doesn't he?
Oh, I can't get paid by Morwell.
Yeah, because that's that picture we got of you next to that.
Yeah.
You'll be up your ass with a pen's Jim. That children there, top of the hill, is a gold. You know, the one I mentioned back in the village, the one I got a share in. The top of that is around 300 feet above our heads, which, coincidentally, is the same distance from our feet going down to the bottom of the mine. I'll just pop off and let you make your boat back to the village. Hope you've enjoyed the red train. Learned a bit about what it's like here.
Now this is where that processing plant was below us. It's down here.
I think you can get off here.
You can do, won't, but it's pissed it down, isn't it? Might as well
We
carry
will
on
never
back.
know what became of Bob. Or
We
the
looked at
several
all this
thousand
last
others
time we were
like
here,
him
didn't we?
toiled above
Yeah, we
and
walked down
below
it.
ground,
Yeah.
extracting copper and tin from the rocks beneath our feet. We will shortly be returning to the 21st century and the village of Morwellham Quay that was considered to be the greatest copper port in Queen Victoria's empire.
You want to go on, don't you?
I so want to drive it. I've had a promise to actually drive one.
Steam.
Yeah, it was a steam one. There's some mines in the Forest of Dean, and the guys who were down there, me and Conrad went caving with them once, and he said, look, if you're ever in the area, pop in, and we'll let you drive. They've got a mucker, you know, a nine-foot mucker, yeah. Yeah.